I will go ahead and call the meeting of the Coos Bay City Council together. Would you please rise with me and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Misty, would you lead us?
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to point out that our counselors, Counselor DeNovo, Counselor Stevens, and Matthews are online, as is Mayor Joe Benetti. And Counselor Cribbins will arrive in just a little bit. So our first item on the agenda is public comments. And before we do that, I will go ahead and read our public comment notation. The public comments period is intended for the public to share ideas and concerns. It is not intended for an interactive discussion with the council. There may be opportunities for public comments during specific agenda items that require a public hearing. Members of the public are requested to confine their remarks to questions or issues under discussion during this time. During any designated comment period, individuals shall not engage in personal attacks, shall not impugn the motives of any speaker, and shall at all times while in session conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. No person shall make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or unauthorized remarks or become boisterous while addressing the council. And we have signed up for public comments tonight. Dean Lundy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thank you so much for putting up with us, leaning on the safety on the corridor, on the 101 corridor. I really appreciate what you're trying to do. It isn't done yet. You know, ODOT doesn't make changes easily, but we've been working on this for several years now. But I really appreciate what you guys are trying to do. And you wrote with the heavier truck volume after the swing bridge is closed. I see that truck volume. I was wrong about the truckers being the best drivers. They're really moving. It's kind of scary. Anyway, North Bend put down lowering the speed limit to 35 would improve safety and predictability in an environment with mixed passenger and heavy vehicle traffic. They know it. The mayor of North Bend is a member of the Planet Fitness, and she knows that corner. She agreed with us that it's pretty wicked. Also, the businesses there, after our talking with North Bend, the online whatever you call it, people put on Facebook or whatever that they would pull into Ace Hardware more if they didn't have these trucks on their six. You know, and Ace Hardware, the manager came down and she said, yeah, it would be great to lower that to at least 35 because it's dangerous pulling into their business and pulling out. I tried to make a left out of there, and I finally gave up and went down 4 blocks in my truck. You know. Anyway, I really appreciate. I put in my notes. Thank you. Did I thank you all? City of Coos Bay respectfully requests that ODOT reconsider its decision and adopt a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit within Coos Bay city limits, consistent with North Bend's appeal and the shared goal of providing a safer, more livable 101 corridor through our community. So again, thank you for trying, and it ain't over yet, but you know, we're working on it, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Dean. I also forgot to mention, when you approach the podium, if you could give your name and the city in which you reside. Our next person on our list is Mike Powder.
Okay, see you, Dean. Boy, I didn't know Dean was this tall. Okay, there we go. Good evening. I agree totally with Dean. You know, we've been looking at this for a long time. I did drive 101. I think it might have been Sunday or Monday. I can't remember the day now. Anyway, I drove down there and I physically measured it with my odometer. And Coos Bay, the city limits of Coos Bay, to the, you know, that 45 miles an hour zone is 7/10 of a mile. We got 45-mile-an-hour speed limit for 7/10 of a mile in town here in the city of Coos Bay, which I think is nuts. The other is 1 3/10 of a mile is what North Bend have, and I think that's their problem. But for us, you know, citizens of Coos Bay, we don't need 45-mile-an-hour deal there. And if it's, I think 30 should be the speed. If it was cut to that, we're just looking at seconds. Also, the average vehicle nowadays is a lot heavier. It's 2 tons or more. They're taller, they're bigger, and we got so many trucks around town. They are the biggest killers of pedestrians and cyclists around. And I just made some little observations on that and put it in a few notes for you there. The other thing is when they do have the speed review limit, or what a speed review people in Salem, I'm going to either get online with that, and if I get ambitious, I might even go up there if I could sit in on it and give them a citizen's point of view on it. You know, I think it's good progress. I think nothing would do our city better than to slow that traffic down in that section. In the whole of, you know, it would open up 101 for, I think, for everybody. I think people would take a whole different look at it. It wouldn't be like a scary, monstrous freeway it is at the moment. Anyway, October also, I missed this one earlier because I did have surgery in October. So is National Pedestrian Safety Month in October. So maybe next year we'll celebrate it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mike, you can't use freeway because I tell my husband all the time that there's no freeway in Coos Bay.
That's right.
Because I know that's what he's going to say. We have a freeway. I heard it.
I think they call it expressway too, or something like that. Yeah.
All right. That's the names that we had on the list. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? All right. Then our next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. And I do want to highlight a couple of things. We have a consideration to ratify the Library Facilities Steering Committee members and also the acceptance of a Spire grant. Pretty significant things. How does the council wish to proceed?
I move to,
To do all of them at once?
Yep.
Okay,
You're approving the consent.
okay.
calendar.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
second,
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent calendar and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the motion carries. Our next item is the Coos Bay School District update. And I believe we have some representatives from the school district here, Superintendent Gary Roberts. And also, are you part of this as well?
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gonna let Misty go first. This is Misty Fuel.
Misty Fuel.
She is a senior at Destinations Academy, and she's gonna give you an update on Destinations tonight.
Okay, Misty, can you state your name again and that information since it wasn't on the microphone for the people on the.
Yes, I am Misty Fuel. I am a senior at Destinations Academy, and I am the new student representative for my school. Over the past few weeks, the students and staff at Destinations Academy have been forming tight bonds and close relationships due to the smaller classroom sizes. It has been made possible for both of our language and compositions classes to read a total of 30 books in October. That is approximately 2 large chapter books per student in those classes. We had the honor of having a guest teacher, Dr. Jennifer McKenzie, to take over our STEAM, digital media, and language classes. She left us at the end of the quarter with a quote. In my 22 years as an educator, I have never experienced a school with such a strong community as Destinations. It has been an absolute joy to work and learn from Dr. Kayla Crook these past few months, as she is like my personal superwoman. It was a pleasure to have Dr. McKenzie to help teach the students, and it was really inspiring and a joy to hear that she herself reciprocated the feelings that the students feel of comfort and support within our school. Our leadership class has been working hard to maintain such a relationship within the Milner Crest Educational Center, as well as the community of Coos Bay altogether. So far, the leadership class has joined the charity program to do trunk or treating right before Halloween and put up the Christmas tree at the ARC program, so that way students who filled out the paper can get their Christmas gifts from Santa. We truly value having such a strong community within Destinations and the Milner Crest Education Center, so the leadership class has taken the opportunity to engage the preschool, Little Pirates Preschool, that we have connected to us. They go down every Tuesday to read books to these preschoolers and help out. Today, they helped make brownies and play games with the students. They also set up a trick-or-treating on Halloween, where the preschoolers were able to come up to the high school and trick-or-treat every single classroom and office that we have. I myself was able to walk with my preschoolers. I work in there in the mornings, so I can get some work experience. I do plan on working with children when I graduate. The Friday project seminar classes made to prepare students for their futures outside of school, have been making great strides in our curriculums. The Native Studies class has been doing a book study on Indigenous people's history of the United States for young people, written by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz and adapted by Jean Mendoza and Debbie Reese. This book looks at American history through an Indigenous person's perspective. It helps to understand what really happened to Native peoples, how colonization, forced relocation, and broken treaties changed lives, but also to learn how Indigenous communities have shown incredible strength, survival, and resilience. As they read, the group talked a lot about how history is told, who tells it, and why Indigenous voices are so important in understanding our full extent of our country. In order to connect with what the class learned through the reading, they engaged on hands-on projects, like learning about the history and making of fry bread, which is a food that was created during hardship and has become a symbol of survival, identity, and community. They also made posters about their own tribe or a tribe of their choice. They were instructed to research things like traditional homelands, language, and culture, and how the tribe has continued to exist and thrive today. This project was able to show the students that Indigenous history isn't just something in the past, but that it is current, living, evolving, and carrying imaginable amounts of strength. These projects helped all of our students to learn that history is more than dates and events. It is people, stories, perspectives, and the land we all share. It reminded them that learning about Indigenous perspectives helps everyone build a deeper understanding and respect for the communities that are still here and still making a difference. Our STEAM class has been able to visit our local public library right across the street, along with the Ore Coast Music Store located in Empire, to learn more about what STEAM is as a program. On the weeks that they did not take these trips, the class was assigned a weekly build challenge that was focused and based off of a certain engineering design process that had a flaw. The students had to work together as a group to identify the flaw, research what could fix it, and make the proper and adequate item. Our foods and nutrition class, which is made for cooking and learning how to cook your own food when you graduate, spent a lot of time cleaning and preparing our kitchen as it has not been used for many years. This process allowed students to learn how to properly clean a kitchen in order for it to be safe to cook in. The first 4 weeks of this class contained cleaning, obtaining a food handler's card, and learning knife skills. The class graduated into learning certain recipes now, like cooking techniques for making chicken soup, apple cinnamon roll cake, brown sugar ice cream, and apple cider. Our movement class, which is focused on appreciation of the outdoors and physical movement, has been able to go on 7 hikes this school year. They have taken themselves to the North Spit, the Eel Lake, Lake Marie, Simpson Reef, Cape Arago, John Dellenbach Dunes, and the Hall Lake Loop hiking trails. Our watershed class has been working on our school garden, preparing it for wintertime planting. Along with the basic garden maintenance, we have had the opportunity to go to Shore Acres Garden and the Millicoma Marsh hiking trails to go bird watching with an expert. The watershed class donates all of our extra food from our garden to the Coos Bay Public Library so our community can have fresh vegetables to eat every day. This Friday, the watershed class will be removing the harsh and invasive species to protect our native species outside of the Coos History Museum. This job has been taken on by the watershed class for the 15 years that Destinations has been a school. It has been an absolute pleasure to have the honor of sharing this information with you all. I hope that this school year continues to grow and advance at such an amazing rate. We are very thankful for this opportunity to share what Destinations is doing within our community with our community leaders and members. We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you all.
Misty, what a wonderful ambassador you are. You made me want to go back to school. Sounds like a great opportunity. Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
going to try to share. I tried to email this earlier today, but apparently it did not come through. So I'm going to try to share my screen here. All right. Well, we got that going. Let's see. Let's make sure. All right. Good evening. My name is Gary Roberts. I'm the superintendent of interim superintendent. Better keep that title there for now, at least. Interim superintendent of Coos Bay Schools. And I'd like to take some time tonight to talk to you about some of the initiatives we have going right now in Coos Bay and some of our updates from over the summer. First of all, before I get going, there we go. I just want to thank our support staff, our teachers, our classified within our school district, our administrators. We have a great team. I'd also like to thank our first responders in the community, some of which know our buildings quite well, and some of which partner with us to promote activities within our district for our students. Also like to thank our military. We have a junior ROTC program at the high school for the first time. We're one of 3 schools in the state of Oregon that have a junior ROTC program. If you attended the football game on Friday night, you saw our color guard that came out for the national anthem, and it's a program that's growing by the day. And then I also want to thank our school board members. We have Arnie Roblin, who many of you know, Dr. Mady Rosengarten, Kim Brick, our vice chair, Kevin Dubazar, Dr. Derek Rogowski, Diane Johnson, and our board chair, Addie Hutchinson. The mission, foundation, and principles for Coos Bay Schools. In Coos Bay, we have a mission that each student is known by name, strength, and need, and all students graduate with a plan to either be enrolled, employed, or enlisted. We call them the 3 E's. And in a recent student survey and family survey, we had lots of feedback from families on how the 3 E's make it very easy for our seniors to understand kind of what their expectation is after they leave us. Our foundation for Coos Bay Schools, we call it the Coos Bay Promise. And that includes access to viable curriculum, high-yield teaching practices, access to essential standards, access to responsive academic support. We call MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. We also have those same MTSS supports for students that need some behavioral assistance. Access to enrichment acceleration, so AP courses, dual credit courses. We've been having math blocks at the K-6 level this year that allow students to move up a grade level in math without messing with the rest of the schedule for them during the day. We also have 12 sixth grade students that are being bused over to the junior high school in the afternoon to take advanced math at the junior high, which is something that is brand new to us in the district. We believe that every student should have access to outstanding staff in every building, an outstanding principal in every building. We believe in 20 minutes of reading, writing, and discussion per day in our schools. Most of our K-3 English curriculum is 120 minutes a day. 4th through 6th grade is 90 minutes a day, and then we hit the junior high school, it's 60 minutes a day. And then we, again, all students graduate with one of our 3 E's. Our 4 principles for Coos Bay Schools is a culture that embraces collaboration, embraces learning, takes ownership for results. That's something that we've really been focused on in the last year since Dr. Ainsworth was our superintendent last year, and we've carried it on this year. A lot of that ownership includes looking at data and taking ownership for our student data as teachers, administrators, and then celebrate successes. And we have lots of successes to celebrate in Coos Bay Schools. We talk a lot with our staff about glows and grows. instead of using the word positives and negatives. So we're going to talk about some Coos Bay glows. First of all, I'm showing you, this is Scarborough's reading rope. It was established in 2001, but this is the foundation of the science of reading. So language comprehension is in the red and word recognition is in the blue. And as students gain those skills around knowledge, vocabulary, language structure, verbal reasoning, literacy knowledge, and then you add in phonological awareness, decoding, and sight recognition. That's what is the basics of the science of reading. As students learn those skills, they start to intertwine, and you end up with a skilled reader. In schools, you'll hear a lot about grades. Kindergarten to third grade are grades where you learn to read. And then after you get through third grade, you are reading to learn. So our goal is to have kids by the third grade at grade level. We'd love to have them before, but that's kind of like at the bare minimum. We need to get them to grade level by third grade because then subjects switch. And again, it becomes that reading to learn aspect. And once they hit the junior high, if they're not prepared, where they have now 6 different subjects throughout the day, it makes it very difficult for our students. We adopted Amplify as our reading curriculum. The current third graders are the only group that have had Amplify since they started Coos Bay schools. The scores or the data that you're looking at there is from an assessment we call DIBELS. It's the Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. And the goal is to have more students in the blue and the green than the red. Red is obviously not a color that we want. So you can see our current third graders, when they started with us at kindergarten, 77% of them were in the red. We were able to, and this is their beginning of the year assessment. So we do a beginning of the year, a middle of the year, and the end of the year. So the beginning of the year assessment, when they were kindergarten, 77% were in the red. That same group, the next year as first graders, we got it down to 51%. As second graders, same group, the next year, 37%. And now this year as third graders, we have it down to 30% of the students are below grade level in reading. So we are chunking away at that number. And again, our goal is by the end of the year to have 0% in the red. It's a lofty goal, but that is our goal by the end of third grade. A couple other glows for Coos Bay schools. Algebra 1. 8th grade students taking Algebra 1 or better at the high school. So students going up from the junior high, going up the stairs to take high school math. The state average is 24%. Coos Bay schools, we have 25% of our students. So we're above the state average in terms of 8th graders going up and taking advanced math. Our advanced placement enrollment for this year, nationally, 35% of high school students are enrolled in advanced placement courses. In Coos Bay schools, we're at 44% of our high school students are taking an advanced placement course. In our advanced placement qualifying scores, so these are students that scored a 3 or better on the advanced placement exam last year. The state average is 22% of public school students earned a qualifying score. And Coos Bay's average was 40% of our students earned a qualifying score. So a lot to celebrate in terms of student achievement. Some maintenance items that we have. It's probably hard to see on here, but Sunset School got some new flooring, and they also got some new lights, new flooring in some of the areas of the building. The new LED lights have really brightened up the hallway. Again, it's probably not the greatest to see here, but I'll keep trying to share this with Nicole and Christina. They can hopefully get it out to you because you can probably see a little bit on the left, or excuse me, in the middle, how dark that hallway is, and then the 2 pictures on the right and the left, considerably brighter. Sunset is not a building that has a lot of natural light, as Jacob can attest. In the gym, here's a before picture. The court looks quite dark, and then you look at the after picture, and it's a nice, bright gym and facility. So it's amazing what some new LED lights can do to a floor, the looks of a floor. We also did some remodeling at Milner Crest Learning Center for Destinations Academy, our preschool. Kind of interesting as they tore the carpet up. There's lots of we did not tear the flooring up due to asbestos and some of those great and wonderful things that we deal with. But as we tore up carpet, there were lots of old symbols on the floor from the original tile. If any of you attended Milner Crest Elementary as a student, you might remember some of these images on the floor. But Milner Crest got some new floor, some new paint, spruced up the building for Destinations and our little pirates. Blossom Gulch also got an upgrade this year as we moved the district office there late last year in order to make more room at Milner Crest for students. You can see some of the photos there. The one on the bottom left is the original hallway paint of yellow and the original flooring. And then the one kind of top right there kind of going up kitty corner is the new floor down and the new paint. And you can see that the paint now is a gray and white with flooring throughout. We've only done this to the south wing of the building. The north wing is currently used as storage, but we're looking for other opportunities and ways to use it as a district. Some goals that we have for Coos Bay Schools, so areas that we need to focus on and improve for this year. Student attendance. The state, these are regular attendance rates. A regular attender is defined by the state as a student who attends 90% or more of the school year. So a student can miss 17, 18 days and still be considered a regular attender. We have lots of families when they come in to meet with us that they hear on the surface 17 or 18 days and they're like, oh, okay. But then they realize that's a month of school, essentially. 20 days, 5 days a week, 4 weeks is about a month. In Oregon, the average student who is a senior and has never been a regular attender, they call it chronically absent. So a student that's chronically absent misses an entire year of school over their school career. So attendance in the state right now is a very big concern, as it is in Coos Bay schools. If you look at this chart, which you may be able to see at the K2 level, so Eastside and Madison, 69% of our students are considered regular attenders. Back in 2018-19, before the pandemic, that number was about where it's at about 69%. Millicoma and Sunset are at 63%. Before the pandemic, they were around 73%. The junior high, which wasn't around before the pandemic, so I couldn't get a statistic for you there, but they're at 59%, and then our high school is at 52%. Prior to the pandemic, the high school was at 69%. I believe as a state, I don't know if we'll ever get back to high numbers for high school students in terms of attendance. So many students have the option for Google Classroom's online classes around the state, around the country. Now there's just way more options for students. I just don't see that number growing back to where it was pre-pandemic. And when you see Destinations Academy down at the bottom, coming out of the pandemic, they were really struggling with student attendance, but their number has grown to 23%, back up to basically where it was pre-pandemic. And I think their number is going to continue to grow. Dr. Crook does an excellent job there. Their graduation rate is amongst the highest of alternative schools in the state of Oregon. And we're looking forward to the latest graduation numbers coming out here soon. K-8 math scores is also an area for growth. You can see we talk about shrinking the red and growing the blue and the green. We adopted a new math curriculum last year, and you can see we did have a lot of growth. The numbers that you see up here are the top one for K-5 is their BOY, beginning of the year assessment. The middle number is their MOY, middle of the year, and then the bottom number is their EOI, their end of the year assessment. So you can see in K-5, we did shrink that red and we did start moving our greens and blues, but we have a long way to go, as does the state of Oregon in terms of math instruction. Many people feel that when they switch to Common Core and all these different options for students to solve math problems, we've now provided them too many options and we're confusing them versus sticking with one or two or three different ways to solve a problem instead of teaching them 5 different ways, if that makes sense. We were taught math fluency facts when we were kids: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Students now get skip counting and manipulatives and manipulative boxes when doing math, and you're starting to see a shift back the other way in terms of how math is being instructed. At the K-8 level, you can see, again, the beginning of the year, a lot of reds, end of the year, less reds, but again, we still have a long way to go in terms of improving our student outcomes in math. Our pre-ACT English scores, this pre-ACT is our assessment for high school students to see where they're at nationally and in the state of Oregon in terms of being at grade level for English. Our 8th and 9th graders, 72% of the nation's 8th and 9th graders were at benchmark or grade level. Coos Bay schools were at 54%. So we have some growth. I'm hoping in the next few years with our amplified curriculum, we're gonna catch that national number and pass it. Some school district priorities that we have here moving forward. We're hitting some budget crunch time. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here when we talk about budget crunch. We're anticipating the state forecast coming out tomorrow, the latest revenue forecast. And we will see what happens in terms of our budget. ODE is already planning on 2.5% to 5% cuts just to get through the end of this fiscal year. And then we're going to see what happens in terms of our state school fund numbers. Evaluation of staff. We're working on a new evaluation system for both our administrators and our certified teachers that is kind of a rubric-based model and is within best practice of other state schools and the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators model and things of that nature to try to get more aligned with other school districts. I talked about math. We need more intervention programs. So programs for students that are below grade level in both math and ELA. ELA at the secondary level, grades 7 through 12, and our K-12 math. We need some intervention supports for students that are below grade level. We're shrinking that red, but we have a ways to go. And then we need to continue to develop community partnerships. And I've appreciated the opportunity to be here tonight to share monthly how Coos Bay's doing with whether it's myself, a student, and we're going to keep working on some other partnerships within our community. I want to talk a minute about some key performance indicators that the district has and some goals. These are the things that we look at as will lead us to student success on state assessments and inevitably have our students achieve one of those 3 E's. At the elementary level, 90% attendance, 70% of our students passing the local assessments for reading and math, and then 100% of our students at the grades 3 through 6 enrolled in music. I'm happy to say we have hit that key indicator. We now have a full-time music teacher at both Millicoma and Sunset, and so our students are getting music multiple times a week in those buildings rather than one time a week as they have in the past. At the high school level, 90% attendance rate, a passing rate for their classes at 90%. 70% reading, math, and science proficiency on both local and state assessments. We want 50% of our junior high students enrolled in Algebra 1 at the high school. As I said, we're at 25% right now, so we want to double that number in the next few years. And then we want to have 100% of our students enrolled in co-curricular activities. I consider co-curriculars to be any activity that gets a student with a trusted adult and a peer group, a positive peer group. At the junior high and high school level, the number one intervention to keep kids in school is co-curriculars, clubs and activities, something that ties them to a peer group with a positive adult. And so that's the goal at the junior high is 100% of our kids. At the high school, 90% attendance, 70% proficiency on the ACT. It's actually should say pre-ACT, reading, math, and science. We want to have 50% of our students enrolled in an AP or dual college class. We've actually hit that this year. I told you we had 44% of our students in an AP class. We're well over the additional 6% of our students taking dual credit. So classes that they get high school credit and credits at SWAC, or some of them are taking them through Lane, Clackamas. CTE concentrators, career technical education. So students that are 2-year completers in those programs, we want to be at 50%. We need to add some CTE programs to get there, and we're committed to that. At the high school, 70% of our students enrolled in co-curriculars. The reason it's not 100% is at the high school level, we have more students that have to have jobs. They have to get jobs to help support the family, or they have to take care of siblings while their parents are working. So 70% is our goal. And then a 4-year completion rate of 100%. So students that walk out of Marshfield High School. My superintendent goals for this year, and I won't read these verbatim, but raise the academic expectations and outcomes for the district. There's a new state accountability metric that's coming out. So we're going to be graded on 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math, 9th grade on track, so students that are on track to graduate at the end of 9th grade, 4-year graduation rate, 5-year completion rate, and K2 attendance, and then there's still yet to be determined local metric. So those are part of my superintendent goals. Develop a long-term plan for alternative education in Coos Bay schools, so programs like Destination, our preschool, teen parent program possibly, Resource Link, and our online program. Report progress on student data monthly with the board. I do that. Investigate and establish the need for more additional programs like CTEs and co-curriculars. We've added speech and debate at the junior high this year. Our speech and debate program at the high school has been very successful over the last few years. I'm also trying to add, trying to find the best the best, most fiscally responsible programs to add. So I'm looking at like junior high cheer, where it's pretty cost effective to have junior high cheer and dance. And other activities that we can look at. I'm also exploring some after school programs through grants and things like that. And then lastly, participate in 2 community and student surveys on the progress of the school. We've already put out 1 survey for staff and students and community members, We've done all 3 of those, and we'll continue to put those out through the year and work on that partnership like I talked about. And then my last slide is a quote that I talked with our staff at our opening staff welcome back. Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best they can possibly be. And with that, I would love to take questions if anybody has. I know I went through that very quick, so I apologize.
Great information. I would open it up to the council if you have any questions.
I have some questions. Scott. The lights, did you guys work with Energy Trust on those?
I'll be honest with you, they were done before I was a superintendent, but we did work with a grant program, and so essentially we had some money front loaded through the grant, and then I think it was the Energy Trust of Oregon grant, and then they basically gave us over 5 years it'll pay themselves off through the energy costs. We've already done a few other buildings, Millicoma Classroom. They have more natural light in the hallways, but we did the classrooms, and we're trying to work on a few more buildings. We know at some point we're going to have to look at Pete Sussex Stadium for LED lights too, because they have the old school lighting.
And what was the term you called for the kids that are chronically absent?
They're called chronically absent, but regular attenders is what we would like them to be. Those are the students that have 90% or better attendance.
I just thought that was my name in high school.
Yeah. That was probably it was mine too. No, I'm a great example for kids of how you can do better.
I never missed a day. Seriously. Not even seniors.
I think there was a rarity that I was there for a full day. So we'll balance out a little bit.
All right. Anyone online have any questions or comments? Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the updates. We love having the students attend our council meetings. They are our future leaders.
All right, great. Thank you guys very much. Have a good evening.
All right, we'll move into our action items for the night. And our first item is the consideration to submit testimony to ODOT Speed Zone Review Panel. And Jennifer, I believe you're going to take this.
Thank you. At the November 4th council meeting, council approved a motion to appeal the Oregon Department of Transportation speed study that recommended the speed limit along Highway 101 between Fur and the Coos Bay North Bend city limits be reduced from 45 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour. This motion is in line with the North Bend City Council, who also wanted a speed limit lower than 40 miles per hour in their jurisdiction. Because the 2 cities did not concur with ODOT speed study, the case will now be presented to the Speed Zone Review Panel, where a hearing will be held on December 9th at 1 p.m. at Salem. Attendance at the hearing can be virtually or in person. Attendance from either city is not mandatory, but is highly encouraged. So staff was unsure on what approach council would like to take on this issue. Staff has prepared a draft statement or testimony, but understands the council may want a different approach. The city can provide written or verbal testimony. Supporting materials such as a PowerPoint or other documents are also allowed. According to ODOT staff, the city's presentation can be as simple as reading a prepared statement or as detailed as a formal presentation, whichever the city prefers. Staff is requesting guidance from council on the following. So the first question is, does council want to submit testimony? If yes, staff has presented a draft testimonial for consideration. And the second question is, do members of the council want to attend the hearing in person or virtually, or direct staff to attend?
I'm happy to attend to question 2 if needed to. I was just up there today, the healthcare matter, and I feel comfortable doing it. And it makes a big difference if you're there in person versus virtual.
Okay.
I definitely feel that we should attend the meeting as well. Anyone else have any thoughts? Anyone online?
Cindy's gonna thumbs up. I'm curious to know what seems to move the needle with ODOT. Is it presentations or submitted statements? I mean, if there's two options, which have we done presentations to ODOT in the past as the city? I'm unsure.
We have not, but as you know, we spoke to a ODOT rep and they said attendance is highly encouraged and a statement or a testimony of some sort.
In my experience in other fields,
Mhm.
having some expert testimony,
Okay.
individuals who are involved or affected by it, they're publicly testifying,
Okay.
and then a group of stakeholders that are there testifying.
Okay.
That's sort of that combination, and yes, being there.
Okay.
Because they have a lot of people coming to them every day with lots of requests. And I'm not going to say one's better than the other, but they have to choose. So
Okay.
Mayor Benetti, did you have anything?
Oh, I think it's great that someone can attend, and Troy's willing to do that. So I would encourage that and thank him for doing that on our behalf, and also submitting a letter would be appropriate, I believe.
Did everyone get a chance to read the draft testimony?
Yeah, I did read the draft testimony, and I would also like to at least provide written comment, but would like to possibly attend virtually if I can make that work.
Do you plan to attend or?
I absolutely can. If that's something we'd like to, have a larger group attendance, I can certainly make sure that happens.
I think you're going to attend in person, Troy, or?
yeah, now someone else wants to go. I think at least one person from the council should be there. I am willing to do that, and then I think somebody from admin should be there. And then anyone can attend virtually. And then you just log on and register that you're going to be there. And the more people, the more voices we have, the more attention that it will get.
So the draft testimony presents a great outline, and Councilor Cribbins is well spoken, and as is Nicole. Does that provide enough guidance for presenting?
Absolutely.
So we don't need to vote on that. You've got consensus. Was that you, Councilor Stevens? Did you have something?
I just want to appreciate the public comment we received about this, where someone did some math to note that there's a 40-second difference in travel time. And so I think coming with some really clear examples and facts would be really helpful.
Mike, do you know what time of day that was that you did the travel time? Was that during the daytime or?
When I did the travel time? Oh, on my odometer today?
That you presented, wasn't that, your notes that you presented?
Yeah, I did Sunday, I think.
It was a Sunday?
It was about maybe noon.
So Sunday around noon?
Yeah.
Okay. We may want to do that if we're going to include facts during the weekdays business. But I think that's great. I think Councilor Stevens makes a good point.
I logged a truck doing a logging truck full of logs doing about 50 miles an hour. They took me, and I was going the limit.
Okay. All right. So you're good with that information? Any other comments from the council? All right. Then we will move to our next item, which is consideration to award the Eastside Housing and Infrastructure Feasibility Study to AKS Engineering and Forestry LLC. And Jennifer, you have that one as well.
Thank you. The City of Coos Bay, in partnership with the International Port of Coos Bay, has been awarded a $100,000 grant through Business Oregon to complete a feasibility study to evaluate the infrastructure improvements necessary to support a residential development on a 78.5 acre undeveloped site in Eastside. This property is just north of the Eastside Boat Ramp and is owned by the port. A request for proposals was advertised in late September, inviting qualified consultants to submit a proposal to provide planning services for this project. 4 proposals were received. A recommendation committee comprised of city and port staff reviewed and evaluated each proposal. The committee met and compared their evaluations and is recommending the feasibility study be awarded to AKS, Engineering and Forestry LLC. While the city has not recently worked with AKS, the port has had several successful projects with this firm. The firm successfully showed in their proposal that they have completed several similar projects and their scope of work was the most comprehensive out of all of the proposals. The committee is recommending to council that they consider awarding the Eastside Housing and Infrastructure Feasibility Study to AKS.
Right. Well, this is great that this has come before the council. We've been talking about this piece of property for a very long time. I was impressed with the proposal. Any other comments from the council, or how do you wish to proceed? Lucinda? Council?
Thank you, Councilor Kilmer. I just want to take this opportunity to acknowledge this great partnership between the city of Coos Bay and the port. We as a government have asked for opportunities to work with the port, and I think this is a perfect example and a perfect partnership. I think we just had one recently as well on the boardwalk. So congratulations to the port and the city for working together on this project.
And if I could have just a little bit of addition to that. So like Councilor DeNovo noted, we did some work together on the boardwalk. They've also been supportive with some assistance in some maintenance and installation of some equipment at the docks. I don't remember what they were, but they brought in equipment to help us install some pieces there. They've also been really helpful when we were, the police department was looking for a location for K9 training. They offered up the Terminal 1 site to do that. And then they've recently signed an agreement with our fire department to provide fire protection to their site there. So there is a lot of just growth and opportunities we're finding on a regular basis with the new leadership and their commission there. So we really appreciate that.
That's definitely exciting. Any other?
I have a motion.
Okay.
I'd make a motion that we award the Eastside Housing and Infrastructure Feasibility Study to AKS Engineering and Forestry LLC for an amount not to exceed $100,000.
I'll second. Well, he's one of us. And then just a comment to follow up, just to reiterate what Lucinda said and Nicole, this is one of our goals, collaboration. And here's a perfect example of how that works. And so I really appreciate the work of our city staff, Nicole, and also the staff from the port. So look forward to better things to come together. Thanks.
All right. We have a motion and a second to award the Eastside Housing and Infrastructure Feasibility Study to AKS Engineering and Forestry LLC for an amount not to exceed $100,000. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries. And our next item on the agenda is the consideration of a proposed increase to the building codes fee schedule. And that is Chelsea.
Yes, as council is aware, our building codes division is under the community development program. The program operates as an enterprise fund, meaning its program costs should be fully supported by the revenue received from permits. The last time we looked at making an adjustment to the building codes permit fees was back in 2018. Since that time, the program costs have increased while the revenue has not. So they haven't been in line. So our building codes administrator, Marcy Goodrich, is here tonight. She's done a lot of work, put a lot of effort into looking at the fees, the program costs, analyzed some different methodologies for how we might consider adjusting fees, and ultimately is proposing a 16% adjustment to our base rate fees of the building codes fee schedule. And that's just really to help maintain the current program and also begin to realign it with current economic conditions without a really, really hard initial impact to the community. And so if council is agreeable to that, there's a process by which we, the city, have to notify the state 45 days in advance. And then if there's no issues there, we bring it back to council for final adoption at a later date at that time. But Marcy's here, like I said, and she can explain it in greater detail or is available for questions. But that's what we're asking you to consider.
Yes. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the council?
So Marcy, this is Joe Benetti. So you put this together and you've been on the other side of the permitting. And so do you feel that this is appropriate, or do you think there'll be any pushback from the contractors or any development from this?
I think it's a fair adjustment. I don't know that they'll even really notice too much, and we're directly in line with everyone else in the county with this move.
Thank you.
That was my question as well.
Yeah.
We're always concerned about that because, building is part of economic development, and it's a real fine line. We want to make sure that we're always business friendly or development friendly while keeping in line with all of the things that that you have to.
Yes, and we are going to further explore the cost of the program. We're already reviewing some of those things now. Staff is the major component there, so we're already looking at some of those changes. A year ago, we had 3 full-time. Year and a half, 2 years ago, we had 4 full-time staff. Right now, it's 1, and we're contracting out some of those other services. So trying to bring that all back home.
Have you run the numbers? Will it be cheaper to bring it back home?
Well,
I mean, there's more control, right?
yes, there would be more control, but the training cost, finding that right person, is really going to be the key indicator there.
Thank you.
All right.
I just want to appreciate, Marcy, all the work and research you've done on this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
This is Councilor Matthews. I just wanted to say that the report was really well done. I learned a lot from it, and I fully support an increase in fees. In fact, I've been kind of surprised at the cost for the last few years. So just really good information, great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do appreciate the hard work. I'm glad to hear the information that you provided to us following Councilor Cribbins. Some of the increases seemed a lot, but then it sounds like we haven't done anything for a while, and we do need to get that in line. And I know that that's always a struggle when it comes to that balancing act that you all must have to do. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed fee increase to the building codes fee schedule and submission of the required 45-day notice to the State Board Codes Division.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the proposed fee increases to the building codes fee schedule and the submission of the required 45-day notice to the State Building Codes Division with future adoption of an amended city fee schedule via resolution. And a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right. We will move on to the city manager's report.
All right, thank you. Just a few items. I wanted to just talk just short bit about the event we had last week, the Let's Build South Coast. I think we had a significant turnout. I think we were planning for hoping to achieve 100. I think we had close to maybe 120 folks attend that. Those were people here locally, developers, also community members, touching Reedsport through Bandon. We had the opportunity to share the Inglewood project with the folks that were in attendance. The goal with that was to do some roundtable work around barriers and potential solutions to barriers for development. And it also brought in a number of innovators from around the state, both in products and process. So I think we learned a lot. We ended up with 5 action items that folks had the opportunity to sign up to be on work groups moving forward. We're waiting to get that feedback, that summary from the facilitators, so we know how we might see some of these projects move forward with those action items. So pretty great attendance. Just excited about that outcome. The Economic Outlook Forum is coming up. It's a chamber event, happens each year. It happens on December 12th this year. Several of you have already indicated interest, and I just encourage those of you who maybe haven't provided that interest that you let us know. We'll get you registered and make sure we so far have a pretty good group. So happy to have folks attending. I also wanted to share that Mayor Benetti and I had the opportunity to meet this morning bright and early at 8 o'clock with Rob Crocker at the Fletcher Building and do a walkthrough with some folks there looking at an assessment of that building and what might happen next. Hard to tell that outcome, but happy to see that there is maybe some forward momentum there. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of ask for would be, I was approached for potential appointment to the Oregon Coast Community Action Board from the perspective of maybe some financial oversight, being kind of my background there. They don't have that depth necessarily on the board currently. So I did a little bit of due diligence, what kind of time that takes, kind of understand the mix of the board, and feel like there's a possibility for us to maybe, for me to add some insight there that can help this organization maybe find some footing. I think they've been struggling lately, and on the financial side is one of their struggles. They've been behind an audit. So just giving some insight there. Typically, this would be an appointed or an elected position. So an elected body member would be in that role. Of course, I'd offer that up to any of you. If you have interest in sitting on the ORCA board, they'd be glad to have you. But in lieu of that, they can take an appointment by an elected body. So definitely something for you to consider. If you are willing to consider that, we can do a letter for the mayor to sign as our documentation of that authority. So. And that's all I have today.
So did I understand that correctly? We have a representative normally on that board?
We don't. So it's like a community board, and they have a different makeup of who sits on that board, and they have up to 2 elected officials. They've got one of the hospital board members sits on that as the elected official. So there's another position that could be held by an elected official. In lieu of that, because they've been struggling to fill that, they could take an appointed by an elected body.
Okay, and do you need direction tonight, or?
We don't need direction tonight, but if there was interest to pursue, we could definitely put together the letter that would give authority, and if interested, Mayor Benetti could sign on behalf of council.
So is there any input from the council, Councilor DeNovo?
Nicole, I believe I already know the answer to this, but I just want to confirm you serving on this board will not affect, your role as city manager on it, correct?
Correct. The time kind of estimated for this is, no more than 5 hours a month between board meetings, and generally you have one committee you might sit on. So board meeting prep, board meeting attendance, and then potential for a committee attendance. So it definitely is, a time commitment. They meet in the evening, so it's not going to be during a daytime to impact what happens here at City Hall business. So.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Sarah. I'm not in favor of this. I think it's going to take a significant amount of time and capacity. I'm not in favor of you committing your time to this.
I did have that concern as well, because I have not been on that board, but I have attended virtually some meetings. I think there's a difference between serving on the board and lending your expertise. I would be concerned capacity wise. Councilor Cribben, did you?
I was just going to ask the simple question. Did you want to be on that board? Was that an interest?
I think that what I have an interest in is kind of helping in whatever capacity I might have ability to do to help this organization stand back up. We need a fully functioning community action agency. Had we have had that, for example, the homeless response piece that the city collaborated with North Bend and the county on would have been managed under ORCA. That was traditionally who those pilots were organized under. They've struggled for a bit. I think they're working back towards stability. I can't say that my participation will, be the final push to the finish line. But the financial side of it is part of that struggle if they can get that back in line. So I understand I believe I understand the commitment. I do appreciate the concern for capacity. I understand also that I have a tendency to say yes more often than say no. So that's fair to, call out that. But I do think it's our responsibility in as many ways as possible to help stand up the organizations that make a fuller, wider scope of community when we look at the services we need here. So
That's fair. Any other comments or questions?
So this is Joe. I had some discussions with Nicole about this, and I have some of the same concerns that I think Sarah has. That Nicole says it's only going to be 5 hours, and I appreciate her saying it's only going to be 5 hours. But I know Nicole, it's not going to be just 5 hours because she's going to be more dedicated to that, and she'll be working harder on that. I just don't want to see her get burned out on doing something for another agency that is struggling. And I appreciate her concern to step up to the plate and want to help a struggling entity, which has been going on for a while. So with that said, I'm reluctant to support this. I mean, it's her choice, but I definitely think it could be a problem down the road. And I guess at what point would you be willing to say enough is enough if that was the case? And that was.
I appreciate Nicole wanting to lift up the community and lift up those organizations that help, right? Lift up this community. I think I just repeated myself twice. Forgive me. I had a root canal today. I too want to say yes, but I'm concerned only because we have so many initiatives here at the city level. And Nicole, I see the incredible work that you're doing with economic development and housing, and I don't want that work to somehow be negatively affected as a result of serving on this board.
I have a question about process. Is this a vote or is this a consensus?
I mean, what I was given as an option would be to have a formal kind of action item or a letter. And because this wasn't presented as an agenda item, I think the letter is the more appropriate path to take. And I guess I would also just acknowledge that I appreciate everyone's input on this, regardless of what side we land. I think it's all fair and reasonable. And so I serve at the will of council. And so that's first and foremost, right?
I think probably at this point, it's a conversation. You've got input from the council. We've shared concerns, and I do appreciate the information that you provided about standing up an organization that that benefits our community and benefits our citizens. So, is it appropriate to take that information, give it some thought, come back to the mayor, and land where you're going to land? Because, I mean, if we're writing a letter, then it is official from the council. I don't know, Mr. Mayor.
So I think there should be some kind of formal process, and it seems like there's some hesitancy for you to take this role. So if I would suggest that we put this on the next council agenda as an item and let the council decide to vote or not, and you can get the support or not the support, I guess. I think that would be the best way to go with this at this time, unless anyone disagrees with me.
I think probably Councilor Matthews.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in as well. But I can hold off on my comments until we have the agenda item.
So can we have that on the next agenda? Okay. All right. Thank you. You didn't know that was going to be a big discussion, did you?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. Thank you so much. So we'll go to our mayor and council comments, and I'll start online with Councilor Matthews.
I do not have any comments this evening, but thank you.
All right. Councilor Stevens.
Thank you. I have a fun one. I got contacted by KMTR to do a interview about our fans that we received from Japan. And that was something that was shown on the news. Super fun. Some good news in this world lately. So if you haven't seen it, the KMTR, our local news station, Jen Kelly, our new local reporter, did a great job showcasing that video. And it was super fun, and appreciate showcasing our sister city relationship. All from me tonight.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. Councilor DeNovo? No comments tonight. Mr. Mayor, do you mind if I save you until the end?
Absolutely, that's fine.
Okay, Councilor Cribbins?
No comments for me tonight.
I'll be brief and just say thank you to Misty and Interim Superintendent Roberts for coming. I can tell you from the school's perspective, to have him jump in midsummer after Dr. Ainsworth left and carry consistently the board's vision has been very nice. So I appreciate him stepping up.
Perfect. And I just also want to thank all of our staff and our guests tonight for being here. Folks that provided testimony or comments under public comments, they're here. We see them. If we don't see them, we wonder what the heck is going on. So we appreciate that people that take time to come. And also, Misty, thank you for coming again. So well spoken, and appreciate the information that you provided to us. The only other thing that I have is I do want to mention that the Coos Bay Downtown Association tree lighting is coming up, and it's happening on a different day. We normally have that on a Friday, and that will be on Shop Small Saturday, November 29th. So mark your calendars. There's a lot of cool things that they have planned, including a Nog and Cider Walk from 11 to 3. There's photos with Santa at 2:30. And then at 5 p.m., they're meeting at City Hall to get glow sticks for the first ever walking light parade. And then Santa will light her tree with Mr. Mayor at 5:30. So that's on Saturday, the 29th. And of course, I know the Egyptian Theater will be showing the movie Elf, which is a tradition that weekend as well. So, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, thank you. First of all, Stephanie, I want to thank you for running the meeting, stepping in with myself at the last minute, not being able to attend, and also Lucinda with getting some dental work done today. I also want to thank Gary Roberts and Misty both for coming and telling us about D9 and all the things that are happening. It's always exciting to see one of our partners in the community doing what they're doing, and I think it's so wonderful to see that happening. Talking about public comments and people that come, Jamie Faraday asked me to read something into the public comments, which I did not do during that period of time, and I'm remiss in that, but he wants to thank City Council for the amendment we did when we did that, our economic opportunity analysis. He says it's a better economic and ecological benefits for our estuary. So he wants to thank us for that. He also wants to thank the council for collaboration with North Bend on the speed limit on Highway 101. It's safer, better for the business, reduces carbon, and makes life difference and helps us in that situation. So that's Jamie Faraday. He serves on a couple of our committees and very involved citizen. So I was pleased to be able to read that for him. And that is the end of my comments. So thank you.
All right. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. And with that, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting.